Garland and Calvin. I'm Calvin. He's Garland, and this is the champion. Oh, wait a minute. This isn't Monday evening. This my bad, bro. My bad, bro. It wanted to make an appearance, so I forgot. This is our pre-recorded session. So by the time you all are seeing this, we're probably laying in bed or out on the beach somewhere, maybe even getting a crab cake. So this is our pre-recorded session. We're doing Queen Sugar season 6, and today will be episode 3. It's called "You Would Come Back Different." Remember, I told you it's kind of lined up. It's going to be I think it's going to be like a poem or something. But anyway, what's going on, Garland?
Yo, feeling great on a Wednesday, ready to do this. It's just, big Ravens win. We're in the middle of the week, looking forward to the rest of the week and all. So I feel great, man. Good episode, so I'm ready to talk about it.
Yeah, man, it was a good episode. So let's jump into it. Okay. Hey, man, Prosper is home, celebrating, but Billy seems to be a little disconnected from the family. I mean, she's watching them. She seems to be a little jealous. And after talking to Charlie, Charlie says, "Hey, you'll eventually get there." When he's with us, he talks about you. But then she's like, "Well, when he's with me, he talks about y'all. Can't stop talking about the borderlands." What you think about that, man?
You know, this whole jealousy thing, it's a shame. These people were watching out for your dad while you were gone, and he don't have nobody else there. And you guys grew up as family. I've seen that a lot, and just in real life, of people who are jealous because of the relationships maybe their parents or significant others have made with people who kind of filled that void while they were gone, and they resent that, or they resent that they could not have a full functioning relationship. And so, yeah, Billy is being a player hater on all the borderlines, and we find out a little bit later in the episode kind of some of the undergroundings of that. But yeah, she's a hater for no reason. She's gonna put a lot of wrinkles on that light skinned face if she don't get herself together.
Yeah, man. I mean, what if anything? And I know they got some anger, and like you said, we'll get into it in a couple minutes. But they took care of your dad. They took care of your dad when you weren't taking care of him, whether you wanted to take care of him, whether you offered to take care of him. The fact is, you weren't taking care of him, and they were taking care of him. So, you got to expect that he's going to be a little closer to them than he is to you right now, which doesn't mean he doesn't necessarily love you. But we also found out last week that Prosper's feeling like he wasn't a good dad. So there may be a little tension on both ends that they need to discuss. So hopefully they'll get to that, but we'll see. But let's jump straight to this courtroom scene. I mean, Ralph Angel's walls have started to close in on him from every angle. I mean, he needs that USDA money. He needs that joint now. And Billy's offering to help, and Ralph Angel's like, she's gonna help. I want her to help. Nova's all like, well, no, you can't trust him. Right. Ralph Angel's like, hey, I ain't getting in the middle of y'all beef. He ain't trying to get in the middle of it. But you know what? Let's get to Ralph Angel's money woes a little later. Queen Sugar has decided they were going to drop the gauntlet on this scene. They have the police against the borderlands. They have the black farmers against the government. They have the white farmers against the black farmers. I mean, what do you think about that storyline?
This is crazy because this is really going on in real life. We talked about redlining when we were talking about Lovecraft Country, and redlining is a process of where financial institutions, they purposely leave out investments in communities of color. We say it's redlining because they made these maps back in the 40s that the banks used to determine where to make loans. And in the neighborhoods that were colored in red, they would not make loans in. And so that's how we got the term redlining. And so we've seen it happen not only in residential housing, but we see it happen in agricultural and farming, where these black farmers are not receiving the same benefits that Historically, white farmers were able to access through the government and all of those things. And so this is something that's very real. People are dealing with it right now. And so I feel bad for Ralph Angel. Ralph Angel, like I said, he slept rock. Ralph Angel does anything that could happen bad always happens bad to Ralph Angel. And this is another thing. Why are you dependent, waiting on the government to pay up? Come on, bro. You know the government ain't gonna pay up. Or if the government is gonna pay up, it's gonna take a long time. I work for government. I work for I work for state government. And one of the things we try to tell people about state government is it doesn't move fast. And so if you're waiting for your payment, it might take 45 days for your payment. I'm not going to be able to cut you a check and get it to you tomorrow. We don't make decisions like that in an instant. It has to go through a process. And so seeing this and seeing these Black farmers and how they're pitting the white against the Black, and why they're getting a reparation, that's one of the things that we're dealing with in this country, Calvin. This racial reckoning that, okay, there has been a crime committed in terms of people being denied access to funding and to benefits. And now we need to adjust it. But now you got people fighting. Well, it's a reparation. Why are they getting special treatment? Well, you got special treatment too. And it was fine when you were getting your special treatment. It was no problem. There was never any problems with you receiving that money. But now that you have to sacrifice to give that money up to others, now it's a reparation. They don't deserve it. They didn't earn it. And I think that's what these farmers are facing. And we see how it plays out for Ralph Angel. They talking about they're going to come back in 6 weeks. Oh my God, I think Ralph Angel, he's going to go ahead and rob that bank or whatever he's going to do to get that money for dollars so she can get them prenatal pills.
Yeah, man. He said 6 weeks and got out of there quick, man. He got out of there.
We'll be back in 6 weeks.
He was off the screen like that. He had them all shocked at that. Hey, man, but what about old Roscoe, big old train here? Dixon has his reference for those that don't know. Oh, Roscoe, big old train here, harassing Nova last week. Now he harassing Charlie this week. And Nova finds this photo of herself with her face crossed out. How real is this threat for her, man?
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Nova talks a lot of stuff. And if you're putting yourself out in the front like that, then that's what's going to happen. You're going to be attacked. You're going to have retribution in a sense. It's interesting how they're pitting this town sheriff against the Borderlands. And we saw a little bit of the preview for next week of what's going to happen with him on the land. And so I think this is just real conversations about when we start talking about defunding police and regulating police and things like that, you're going to get harassed. You're going to have issues. And so I feel kind of unsure for Nova, because Nova, yeah, she's quick to put her mouth in something, but she ain't really got no backup. It's like she a solo team. Where your people at? Where your team that's organizing so you're not taking the whole brunt of this, And so I want to see how it plays out. She got this guy who's kind of creeping around and whatnot, but Nova, sometimes heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah, and I've noticed something like Nova and Ralph Angel both seem to have the same issue. They have these grand plans that now Nova executes her plans, but she never calculates the consequences. Ralph Angel, he can't execute the plan, but he already knows the consequences. So they both seem to be lacking somewhere. But let me move on to my guy Hollywood. My guy Hollywood finally catches Vi just skimming from the tail. Now, granted, it's her own tail, but she's skimming from the tail. And, Hollywood standing out there like, hey, you want to tell me what's going on? I mean, Hollywood is out there trying to find out what's going on. And Vi takes him to the place. He meets the little boy. He meets Paula Jai. I forgot her name in there.
Paula Jai Parker.
Yeah, but I forgot her name in the show.
I forgot her name in the show.
Yeah, I forgot it that quick. But anyway, she let us know that Greg was beating on her because you ain't got to hit Greg. You ain't got to hit Greg. But Greg was hitting on her. But why was this so hard for Vi to do? Like, you could have been taking Hollywood there. Why was this so hard for Vi to at least tell Hollywood what was going on?
Sometimes we carry stuff unnecessarily that we don't have to carry, especially if we're in marriages and close relationships. We're carrying burdens or things on us where we feel we have to do it all. And instead of looking to our mate or our partner for that support and assistance, we feel we have to carry the load by ourselves. And so it's obvious Vi, although she's in this marriage, she loves Hollywood. Vi still really thinks she's Superman in the sense of I got to do it all myself. That's part of Vi's, makeup as this character of this do everything woman. I take care of business, and so I'm glad Hollywood was able to check her and say, hey, look, I'm your partner. We're in this together. I mean, I know even in real life, dealing with that, sometimes you have to be like, look, you don't have to carry the burden alone, especially a good partner, a good spouse, a good friend, someone that's in it with you. Sometimes they're there to help lighten that load. What they say, many hands lighten the load. And so Vi, she really, a lot of times, she doesn't really use her resources to its fullest potential. And she has that big resource in Hollywood with that man with a big heart that loves everybody just about. Yeah, what if that man came up, knocked you in the head? I ain't know what's going on. You out here sneaking up on hotels and all this stuff. Guy could came up and knocked you in the head. That's what Hollywood said. So yeah, let me be your back. Let me be your partner and help you and assist you and alleviate some of that burden.
Yeah, man, it's funny you bring that up. In my wedding vows, we wrote our own wedding vows. And my wedding vows, some of the things I said was your burdens are my burdens and your tears are my tears, because I truly mean that. Like whatever you go through, I go through. So right. You'll never be alone going through that thing. But Va also alluded to the fact that she's not the only one that stretches herself thin. Hollywood is out here stretching himself thin. And it seemed to be a little animosity with that. I don't know if she feels like he's not spending enough time with her or anything, or maybe I'm reading into it too much. But do you think he's stretching himself too thin? And even if he is, how does that sound coming from Vi?
Yeah, I mean, he's been working on getting his spot up. Come on. He got the spot open. He's been trying to get these things together. He's supporting you Vi out here doing your craziness and being mean to Ralph Angel and all these other things. And he was trying to take care of his mama and all those things until she got COVID and passed away. Yeah, the man had a lot to do. But to me, it felt like it was tit for tat. Well, you saying I'm busy. What about you?
Exactly.
Yeah, so nah, Vi. It just ain't tit for tat. Hollywood always got your back. Hollywood always there. And sometimes you treat him as an accessory as opposed to your support. And so I'm glad that they were able to talk that out. I'm really want to see, and also I know, and sometimes in abuse situations, although this was not the case, sometimes women are scared of men in the press. Like we're going to talk about Mike and his triggering. Sometimes women get triggered as well. And so I know, like when I used to do some work with House of Ruth and all, sometimes men were not allowed into certain parts of the building because it could be triggering to women. And so, who's to know that maybe that was triggering for that character. But, I don't want to put too much into it. But yeah, Vi, you was hating.
Yeah, she was definitely hating. But speaking of Micah, let's jump right to Micah. Micah didn't have a lot this week, but he did jump on that PTSD that we talked about last week. And it was just a security guard this time. And the young boy that looks like a young kid from Kid and Play was like, right. Hey, Micah, ain't gonna hurt nobody.
Right, you all right? Yeah. I'm telling you, Calvin, I'm getting like, let me rub your back and help you through this vibes from this character.
We talked about this last week. I say no. I thought so, but I say no. You say yes. But let's move on. Micah has this PTSD. And how's he going to deal with that? Because we see Micah has grown independent, and Micah doesn't seem to like to ask for help or depend on anyone. How do you think Mike is going to get through that? Just leaning on his friends or dealing with it on his own?
Hopefully he doesn't self-medicate. There's an opportunity to do that, but hopefully he gets help. Hopefully he starts to discuss it. PTSD is a serious thing. I have family members who were veterans in the war, Gulf War and they're dealing with PTSD. I mean, that thing is debilitating. And even some of us, just in regular life, we're dealing with things that were traumatizing to us. And sometimes we wonder, well, why I always act out when this situation happens or this happens? It's PTSD. It might be very severe where it makes you sit down and have panic attacks. And then sometimes it just makes you be a person that avoids certain types of people or situations. And if we don't start to address those things, they can really hurt us. And so I hope it looks like that guy is going to kind of be and I don't know if that's a fraternity brother or that's just his boy, but it looks like that guy is going to kind of be there to help him process some of that out. And hopefully, he shares it with his parents or somebody else recognizes and they start to get him to help that too.
Yeah, Micah seems to find groups of friends pretty easily. If we remember
Right.
a couple seasons ago, he had his friends that all got locked up after they vandalized, but he had his friends then. That's when he met his little girlfriend. But let's go to Micah's parents. So Davis West, he is now reintroducing himself to the family. But first, he starts with Micah. Charlie actually calls Micah and she asks Micah about it. And Micah seems to be accepting of it. Now, he doesn't seem to be encouraging. He's more like, if you like it, I love it. I just don't want you to be hurt. And they seem to be a little shocked by that. They're like, there was a time where he's always talked about it, but now he's not talking about it. He's not excited about it anymore, which I can understand. Like, you all haven't been together that long and he's had to live with it. So he also doesn't want to be hurt by this. So what do you think about that?
That phrase, if you like it, I love it, that means I hate it.
Basically.
Whenever I hear somebody say that, if you like it, I love it, that means you hate it. I think that, and we touched on this last week, sometimes when a hurt happens within a close circle and other people find out about the hurt and how sometimes they internalize that too, although you work through it and you might get to a stage of where you are ready to accept and move on or re-embrace that person who hurt you back into your life. And I think it's real that sometimes you do have to listen to those other people in your circle who are concerned about your mental health, your emotional health. And we saw that from Micah's concern that this was very hard, this was heavy. We really had to deal, and they had to deal with it publicly in the other seasons, because the father was playing in the NBA or whatever, and that being on the public stage. And so I found it very sincere, and I found it sincere that he would want to apologize to the family, because you have to acknowledge that the family, you disappointed the family, it hurt the family, but ultimately at the end of the day, we have to trust that you're being who you say you are, and if this person's willing to take you back in, then we have to be willing to embrace you and take you back into the fold. I'll tell you an interesting story. My parents separated when I was real young. I think I might have been 11 or 12. And then I don't know why, Calvin, but they got back together when I was like in my late 30s, early 40s. Black people never divorce. And not that my dad like hurt my mom or anything, I can't remember exactly what happened. But I'm sure there were a lot of people that carried that, oh wow, your father was not there, why would she go back with him and all. But we eventually had to embrace it because she was ready to embrace it. And so if she was ready to accept and embrace, that meant that we needed to stand in support and love and nurture. And so, they're still together, and it's real nice to see. But we have to do that as families.
Yeah, man, my parents separated when I was 6 and they never got back together. Like it wasn't even a thought. My dad was real close to in my life up until the day that he passed, but they never got back together. And I think I may have asked once if they would get back together, and I kind of got that So yeah, I'll never ask
Please.
again. Hey man, but as you talked about that, I was really surprised that the family completely accepted him. Even Vi accepted him. There was
Right.
no issue, no animosity whatsoever. But I kind of get the feeling that they're not on the same page because when they do their little nighttime picnic, and maybe Gators are asleep at that time in St. Joe, but they was all by the little marsh and
Right.
everything. But anyway, when they did their little
Laid out.
nighttime picnic, it seemed like Charlie wanted to get back to doing his PR and wanted the world to know that he's changed and change his image and go public. And all he wanted to do was kind of lay low and have his wife come to California. She said, you know, I can't go to California. They need me here in St. Joe. So this is my life. And he seems to accept that. But does it kind of feel like that, you know, this is all great at the beginning, but their interests may be kind of going away?
It feels that, you know, a lot of times when you're in love, everything is groovy and great. And then you start to talk about some, like, okay, we're going to live here, we're going to do this. And then you start to have all these hit and misses, like, oh, okay, I didn't know you felt that way, or I didn't know you wanted. And so, yeah, I think they were just caught up in Buddhism. And now that, you know, the Buddhism is now we had to start making some plans. You're starting to see, okay, well, I wasn't really thinking that. I was thinking this. I think also she probably needs to put it out in the public because, you know, she had the Democratic group approaching her about, you know, her public persona, if she had anything to hide. And so I think this also serves her political aspirations. Maybe what Davis doesn't want to necessarily be forefront in. And so, you know, it's probably like a double need there. She's trying to, you know, put this thing out so it just, you know, it's at rest. And him like, nah, let's just be.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like, you know, before Davis was the talent and Charlie was the woman behind the man, but
Right.
now Davis is kind of trying to be the man behind the woman, but
Exactly.
she kind of wants to fall back in that role of being the woman behind the man, and Davis is kind of like, nah, it's you now. Like, this is your
Right.
time to shine. Let me just sit back and chill. I basically don't want to mess anything up for you, which he probably doesn't know that it feels like he's going to anyway, just by the past, but we'll see what's going on.
We'll
But
see.
let's jump over to the real spot. I mean, Hollywood had all
Real
the old
spot.
dudes in St. Joe at the real spot, except for Rob, Micah. They were the youngest two there because everybody else was 60 and over. But then Rob brings his homeboy Theo from prison, and Hollywood gave that look like, got this old jail. But Hollywood ain't say nothing. He just went to talk about his little problems. You know how Hollywood do. Get the yak. You don't get the yak if you don't talk. You know how I do. But
Right.
while that's going on, the women, they have their own little real spot that they just call it like the real talk show. They just sitting there talking, and Darla says she's feeling like something's coming that she's not going to like. And lo and behold, Theo offers Rod a chance to be the getaway driver. Now, Rod turns it down, but after Theo laces him with a little bit of cash just for the baby, you know, that's how you get him in. That's like your sample, give him a little bit of cash. You think Rod's thinking about it? I mean, he talking about robbing the Landrys, and also that doula costs some moolah. Rod needs some money. You think he going? What you think? You think he going to eventually give in?
Raw, like I said, Raw is slept rot. He just need to just go somewhere and sit down because if he serve as a getaway driver, that means they're gonna get caught. I guess Theo don't know. He didn't see that cloud with the rain coming down over Ralph Angel's head. That's the wrong Negro to ask to be part of your criminal scheme. Because if he is, you about to get caught. Money will make anybody do anything. I mean, the desperation for money. You know, you got a baby on the way, you got a child that's in boarding school, that's away. Although you're not paying for boarding school, you know that's still an expense. You know, contacting and trying to take care of him. You got to get out here get these baby vitamins for your unborn child. You want a doula. You need a now. You done found out you need a midwife. Yeah, this ain't back in the country day when you call down the street and ask for the neighborhood midwife to come on up and pop out the baby for you. So yeah, Rod, he got some tough decisions because now he got to wait 6 more weeks for this government money. The crop ain't come in. I, I'm trying, Calvin. Why this boy running a sugar cane? Why his sisters let him take back over the sugar cane farm?
I want to do. I want to play a game starting with the next episode and count how many times Ross says, "I'm waiting for the crop to come in. The crop ain't come in." Every week, Ross like the crop ain't come in like the crop ain't come in like it was supposed to. No, I'm waiting for the crop to come in. Hey, believe in me, the crop will be in next summer. The crop ain't never coming, Ra. The crop ain't coming.
Calvin, he been waiting on the crop since season 1.
He need to get Blue. See, that's why he sent Blue to DC, because he tried to teach Blue how to farm. Blue was like, Pop, you're not good at this, Pop. I'm gonna go to DC with Grandma. I'm gonna go to school there. I'm gonna be something else because you're not really good at this, Pop.
We've been waiting for this crop for 5 seasons, Pop.
Ross so bad at the crop that he raced Charlie in the crop and she beat his ass. Ra and crop don't mix. Ra needs to just leave the crop alone, man.
Calvin, you ain't lying. Every show he waiting for the crop, man.
Every show. If this was a parody on In Living Color, that's how they would start. They'd be like, "Hey, Ra, how things going?" Nah, just waiting for the crop to come in. Hey, man, and Ra still robbed that convenience store in season 1 that he ain't never get popped for. So I'm still waiting for him to get locked up for that. But anyway, let's get to the moment that we have all been waiting for. What does Billy owe Nova? So we find out that there is a beef with all the Borderlones and Billy, all but Ra, because Ra was seemingly liked her and really idolized her and probably was young, waiting for the crop anyway.
Right.
But the Borderlones don't like it, and we find out because Billy was sleeping with Vi's husband, Jimmy Dale.
Well, she said she was not sleeping with Jimmy Dale. She said that Jimmy Dale was going around saying, I'm thinking Jimmy Dale may have molested her, raped her.
Well, no, if you listen to it, she said basically she wasn't a willing participant. It sounds like Jimmy Dale was raping her.
Okay,
that's what it sounds like. Jimmy Dale was taking it from her. And of course, she's feeling like, Nova's my best friend. I'm 18 years old. I only have my father, which means she didn't have a mom she could speak with. She thought she was real close with the Borderlones, but they all turned on her. And she's so mad at Nova for not just coming and saying, tell me what's going on, that she goes to her father, and her father seems to be caring and loving. And she seems to be a little spiteful and a little jealous of that because she doesn't have the same thing. And she's like, I don't want Nova to have this and I can't have it, so I'm telling that your daughter is gay. So she outs Nova, and now Nova's in a world of hurt because, like she said, they were asking questions I wasn't prepared for, but it's all stemmed from Jimmy Dale and the Borderlones thinking about only themselves. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like to her, especially with Nova. What do you think about?
Calvin, that's one of the sources of a lot of family trauma, is when we have trauma happen within inside the family and a person doesn't tell because they really know or believe that the family won't believe them. How many people have been molested or touched by a relative and they never told because the belief that they believe no one's going to believe them in the family, or when they did tell, the family knew, but the family has never removed this person from the family circle. I mean, there's people that's molested people 50 years ago, and they still showing up at the family reunion and the family cookout. And we know it, and we wonder why people are still acting out. We wonder why people are angry, but we haven't removed the perpetrators from the circle. And so that's the vibe that I get from Billy, that, hey, I was young, I was scared, and everyone held this man in high esteem. And if me telling, I knew people were not going to believe me, and I was angry, and instead of dealing with how I was feeling, I started. I put your business out. I ran away from the issue. I stayed away as long as I could, and I think that's typical, and we see that in real life.
Yeah, man, it's so traumatizing for her, and as you can see, it caused a lot of issues. This is the issue, the reason why she never come back to St. Joe, why she's tried to get her father to come with her. So it caused a lot of issues and animosity with everyone, and it's a shame, but we'll see what happens with it next week, and hopefully they'll get back, they'll get out of it. I don't know how Nova is going to tell the family that she may have been wrong, not wrong in what she was thinking, but wrong in how she handled things. And I don't know, Billy's trying to help the family. This is
She
real
was right
sticky.
about Nova, though, because Nova always just come off very self-righteous, like, I'm Nova, and she sometimes is all about Nova instead of other people, and she definitely comes off kind of like, I'm Nova, and everybody has to bow to Nova.
I mean, Nova's also the one that's all about the black, but was dating the white cop.
Come
I
on,
mean,
make it
talk
make
about
sense.
contradictions. But anyway, hey, that was Queen Sugar season 6, episode 3. You would come back different. Again, this is pre-recorded, but when you see it, you can definitely comment on it. We'll read the comments and reply to some of the comments. We won't be real time for the video, but we'll do it as a Facebook post, or if you're doing it on YouTube or Twitter. So make sure you watch. Next time you see us will be Monday for the season finale of Raising Kanan. It'll be episode 10, the season finale. So that'll be at 7:00. You will get the advertisement for, but it'll be on all our stations that you see us on. So anyway, we thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed this. We'll be back with Queen Sugar next Wednesday with episode 4. Hey, Garland, thanks, man.
Calvin, take it easy. Championship belt. I'll see you soon.
You know what? It left because it wasn't wanted here. So oh, wait a minute. This is All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. I'm Calvin. That's Garland. Championship belt, y'all. All right, Garland. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.